Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues. My name is Keith Robertson. I'm the Roads Infrastructure and Active Travel Workstream Lead for the Mobility and Access Committee for Scotland. Today, the title of my presentation is Cycling for Disabled People, the Building Blocks to Inclusion. And to look at this in detail, we're looking at predominantly the building blocks for inclusion and engagement, while looking a little bit at cycling. But there are other presenters who are concentrating more on the cycling side. So we're going to have a little look at what is inclusion and where do we begin. That disabled people have the right to live a life with dignity and respect and with choice and independence, and how we can achieve that. I think one of the most important things to start with is to have a look in what is access about, what is the definitions of access. And there's two that I often refer to and that I do like. And the first is by a guy called Vikas Khanna. He's a chef, an author, filmmaker, and a philanthropist. He said disability is the inability to see ability, and maybe be a short statement, but it is nevertheless very profound. Another one was from Alistair Duggan, who worked for government. Said accessibility means that people can do what they need to do in a similar amount of time and effort as someone that does not have a disability. It means that people are empowered, can be independent, and will not be frustrated by something that is poorly designed or implemented. And the last one is a quote from myself, much shorter and I think punchier. The concept of accessible design is about making things accessible to all people, whether they have a disability or not. Really as simple as that. I think it's really important to include disabled people. In Scotland, we're talking about over 30% of the population. But for cycling, where do we draw the line? Because as you can see from the picture, there is a whole morass of adapted cycles that are available. And the picture that you see in the slide only shows a few of them. So, you have to decide by engaging with your clients what their requirements are, because I would suggest that it's nearly, if not probably impossible, to have an adapted cycle of every type that is on the market. It's just impossible. Or when we look towards what for this presentation we've called the building blocks to inclusion, I sort of see it as people thinking about it and being like a maze in your mind. How do you get to the centre and out again? How can you conquer that maze? Well, hopefully we can try and help a little bit by putting things into perspective. For purposes of this presentation, I've referred to design, but whether it's design, whether it's policy, or whether it's a service you're planning or delivering, it doesn't matter. The concept is still the same. the first thing that we have to look at is the concept. What is it that we're looking to put forward? What is in that design? What is the service about? You know, what is the preferences for people with protected characteristics? You know, what way do they want to go? What is the best way forward that is most inclusive? Then go on to look at the detail of that design. How does that meet inclusion? You know, how does it include everyone or almost everyone? Because we aren't going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time, but we can try to please most people most of the time. We also have to monitor a service from its concept through to setup, through to the delivery, and after. You know, but first we have to see it to completion and have it signed off. If it's a design, for instance, I like to see an access forum put together of a handful of really knowledgeable people who can look at issues across most or all disabilities or protected characteristics, depending on what has been flagged up with the quality impact assessment. But afterwards, we also need to evaluate the completed design or service and regularly evaluate that design, that service, or that policy. Is it meeting the needs that it was designed to meet? Is it delivering what we want it to deliver? The next slide is simply a cartoon of a tree, and in each of the 9 coloured circles on the tree, it names each of the protected characteristics within the Equality Act 2010, from age through to maternity and pregnancy, marriage and civil partnership, race, disability, religion or belief, gender reassignment, expression and identity, sexual orientation and sex. That is the 9 protected characteristics that you need to consider. Now, but how do we get there? What are the real building blocks of engagement? Because that's what we're really talking about. Well, first of all, we have to identify what characteristics are going to be impacted by that design, by that service or that policy. Identify relevant organizations, individuals or groups that you want to engage with. Choose how you want to engage. Do you want to engage virtually? Because that may suit some people, but not all. Do you want to engage face to face? Do you want it to be individually, or do you want it to be workshops? Now, choose very carefully how you want to engage with people. Make it as inclusive as possible. And if you're meeting face to face, choose your venues very carefully. Are they level entry? Do they have accessible toilets? If someone has a hearing impairment, is deaf or is deafened, is there hearing systems in place? Think about the venues. Think about how people can use them. Do you need translators and interpreters? Then, only then are you ready to start and engage with people. When you engage with them, take notes Listen to them. Don't just hear them, but actually listen and report. Report back to the workshops, report back to the people on what has been said and what has come out of that engagement. What path are you taking? And if need be, adjust and re-engage with people to make sure that you're meeting all of their needs or the majority of their needs. And be prepared to repeat the process if required, because it may be that you have to get to the first level, if you want, on the previous slide of setting up that service or that policy or getting to the first stage of that design. But then it has to be monitored after, and that is when some of that repeat will come into being. So what's the best tool to use? Well, for me, the best tool that you can possibly use is an equality impact assessment. First of all, it's mandatory if it's a public body or if it's someone or an organisation acting on behalf of a public body. No, it isn't. Do we have to do, or can we do an equality impact assessment? You have to do a equality impact assessment. It's part of your public sector equality duty. But keep it simple. And what I've shown here is just a couple of pages on how simple it can be. Now, I wouldn't keep it as simple as, in the green form, positive, adverse, or neutral. I would have more columns and more detail in that on how it is likely to affect each of the characteristics, whether it be how is a service going to affect someone with a disability, for example, how is this policy going to affect someone of a different race, or how is a design going to affect people of different age. We've got to be inclusive. We've got to include as many people as possible. And we need to be able to identify, monitor, record. It's really important. An equality impact assessment should be a working document. It shouldn't be something that is done once as a desktop exercise. It's got to be a working document and used all the way through from concept stage to completion, but also thereafter, so that it can be used as a monitoring tool to evaluate the finished service, the completed design, or is a policy working, or does it need tweaked? You need to be able to measure it. And with an equality impact assessment, you can do that. That is quite a rapid talk through the building blocks to inclusion. And I'm sorry for it being so gone through so speedily, but I'm kind of restricted to time today. So I hope that it was informative. I hope it helps with understanding of how important engagement is when putting together any service, policy or design. And if you have any questions or comments, I will do my very best to try to provide the answers. Thank you very much.